This is the Aftermarket Radio Network. It's your Weekly Blitz with Chris, keeping you in the game.
Are you ready to supercharge your auto repair business? This is Coach Chris Cotton from AutoFix Auto Shop Coaching. The Weekly Blitz is where industry expertise and business innovation collide, revving your engines for the week ahead. Every episode has game-changing insights, up-to-the-minute industry updates, and practical tips to shift your business into high gear. We're talking about stuff you didn't even know you didn't know, folks. This episode is brought to you by Shop Marketing Pros, the experts in marketing for top-tier auto repair shops. If you're running a successful shop but want to take it to the next level, Shop Marketing Pros is without a doubt your best option. From websites and SEO to social media and digital ads, Shop Marketing Pros helps owners like you fill your bays, grow your revenue, and build the life you've been working for. Ready to take the guesswork out of your marketing? Visit shopmarketingpros.com/Chris to get a free digital marketing inspection and start building the shop of your dreams today. Hey, everybody. I hope you had a great Thanksgiving. We should all be back and ready to get it, ready to grow, ready to go. Across the country, the week before Thanksgiving was a little light. It's kind of crazy. Even at our shop, it was a little lackluster. We had a great month going, and then kind of the wheels came off there. But what I want to talk about today is I've been getting several phone calls here recently and consultations with potential shop owners. And these have all been from people that are currently technicians that are interested in doing something on their own, and they don't know what to do or where to go. And I thought, you know what, that would make a great topic. I've never done one on that before, specifically, I don't think. Not one that I can remember anyway. The other thing is we talked about the math. This potential shop owner in particular, he didn't know where to start with budgeting. He didn't know where to start with the cost or anything else. Typically, what we see in technicians turned shop owners are people that have maybe ran a small business before, but they're ready to kind of move and go on, is they just don't know where to go to get the resources to figure out how to do the budgeting, the marketing plan, anything like that. So I'm going to walk through a little bit of it, but the big thing we're going to do today is I'm going to kind of use the shop owner that I talked, or the potential shop owner that I talked to yesterday. We're going to build the blueprint for the shop as far as what we think our sales were going to be, how we were going to pay ourselves as an owner, and some things like that, and then come up with a budget. So I'm going to be working the calculator here. I'm going to be working on this piece of paper. I'm going to do it real time. So hopefully that'll work in our favor. First of all, when you're thinking about a shop, you need to think about location. A lot of potential shop owners have a space in their backyard or their garage or a barn where they want to do work. And I guess I'm for that if that's your only alternative. But if there's any way to not be next to your house, not be in a housing community, I would say get out before the community bands together and kicks you out. I've seen it happens more often than not where people get cease and desist orders and things like that for working in their garage, working beside their house, or working in their barn around the corner. It's just not conducive to, I guess, in my mind, what a proper business is. Maybe you think differently. Next consideration, you have to figure out how you're going to pay yourself. And we're going to get into that more in a minute when we do the math. But if you're a successful technician somewhere and you're pulling down 100, 120, 150 grand a year, and you're looking at doing it on your own, you really have to think about, how am I going to make this work? A lot of times, single technicians can make a go at it. But what happens when you're on vacation? You don't have any cash flow coming in. What happens if you get sick? You don't have any cash flow coming in. What happens if you get COVID or illness or cancer or any of the things that can happen to you? Those are things you need to think about. How does this business go on that you're now using to support yourself if it doesn't exist anymore? I also, canceled this person yesterday. It's like, hey, if you want to start as a one tech, just know that you're not going to be as productive as you were in a shop because you had all the support around you. So if you think you're going to jump out there and bill 60, 80 hours a week as an owner, writing your own tickets and everything else is just not going to happen. Next, I told him, get to another technician as soon as you can. That way, that person can bring money in if you're sick, if you want to go on vacation, everything else. The other things we talked about is not commingling the funds. Pay yourself an actual wage. Again, we're going to do the math on that and talk it out. Pay your house bills out of your house and your business bills out of your business. What are the expenses, or what do the expenses look like? You've got rent, internet, utilities, insurance of all different natures, any type of business fees or licensing, credit card fees, technology fees to shop management systems, customer retention management systems. You're going to need to buy computers, tablets, all of these things. And so you really need to figure out what your costs are going to be and go from there. So I really like I want to think about having the end in mind and going from there. Really, there's any number of expenses, and you can start on a shoestring budget. You can start with a credit card. You can start with cash, but you do need to have some amount of money set aside to get started with. And again, how do we figure that out? What does that look like? So I'm going to kind of take this for instance shop just to give you a basis for where they were at, where he was at, and how we got the numbers we got. So really, he was having a hard time wrapping his mind around budgeting. The one thing I didn't mention just a second ago, marketing, advertising your shop. Like seriously, you can't scrimp on that when you're getting started because you have to have cars in order to do the work. So you really, really want somebody like Shop Marketing Pros out there handling that for you. That's one of the reasons why I trust them with my clients and I trust them with my own shop. I could pick anybody and I would only pick the best for my clients and myself. Anyway, so the first thing we did is we had to figure out what's the labor rate going to be for the shop, because really everything's based around the labor rate. I quizzed him and questioned him and asked him, what are you making currently? What are the benefits? What part of the country? So this is a spot in the upper Midwest. He's a technician at a Mercedes dealership, but he works mainly on Sprinters. So this was the business he's going to start or transition to is pretty much going to be a Sprinter only business. He's getting great benefits, 2 weeks of paid vacation a year, 401k, dental, health, all that. And I need you to remember, when you're looking at doing your own business, like most all of that goes away. So you really need to think about how you're going to support yourself, how you're going to support your family, and what that looks like. So what we came up with is we figured out that with his regular pay rate plus his tax and benefit load, and the tax and benefit load is all the extra stuff that employees get, FICA, FUTA, SUTA, vacation time, and anything that doesn't go on their W-2, right? All the extras. I guess technically if you pin me down, FICA, FUTA, SUTA goes on the W-2, but anyway, not real money to them. So what we determined was his pay per hour with tax and benefit loads was $56.25 per hour. So what he's making now. And so what I would tell you is I would not design a business or go into a business and have it produce less than what your lifestyle is now. Like you should be able to turn what you're doing now, your profession, your art, into at least as good of a lifestyle as what you're having. So whenever we're talking about labor rates, we always shoot for a 70-71% labor margin. So the multiplier for that is 3.5. So I took 56.25 and multiplied that times 3.5, and that gives us a labor rate of 196.87. And so that's how we base the rest of the business on. Okay. Some of you people out there probably cringed or fell out of your chair at a labor rate that's looking at 196. That is becoming less and less and less common every day. Also, if you're thinking about this one place in particular, if you drive a Sprinter van and need your van, most of the places around the country, they're going to tell you 3 weeks, 4 weeks, whatever, and you have to leave it there regardless, because if it's not in line, they're not going to take it. So I don't have a heart attack or heartburn with this labor rate. It is what it is. If that's what we need to do to provide great service to our customers, a great living for the family, then that's what we got to do. The next thing I talked about with him was, you're only probably going to be doing 30 to 35 hours at max if you're just by yourself. If you're writing all the tickets, greeting customers, sourcing parts, everything else, even if you think you've always been billing out 60 hours a week, you always have that support system that you're not going to have anymore. So I said, let's say we're having a really good week and we build out 35 hours. So what we're going to do is we're going to take that labor rate, 196.87 times 35, and that gives us total labor sales of $60 890, 62. Now, one thing we didn't really get into with him was, what the minimum amount of labor and everything else was. And so I'm going to throw this number at you. If you look at his wages at plus his tax and benefit load and just take that 5625 times where I'm going to say he's going to pay himself flat rate. So we're going to times that times 35. Then his pay every week is 1968.75. So we can more than support that with the labor dollars that we're just talking about. Now, that's just the labor for the week. That doesn't include anything else. One of the things we talked about was for every dollar in labor, we typically see $1 in part sales. So we have to also add that in there for parts. And I'm not including any shop supplies or anything else. So if all things go really, really well, and this person can turn 35 hours, parts and labor, have a really great week, then they're looking at about $13,781.24 in sales. Okay. So now to get to the operating expenses is where we're going to get that. So we already know what we need to pay him. So we told him we're going to pay him flat rate at the 5625. So our payroll is going to be 1968.75. Our parts, let's say we have a modest parts, not as good as I would recommend, not as good as anybody else would recommend, but let's say that, we're going to have a parts margin of 50%. So we take that parts total that we talked about, 68.90 and 62, divide that by 2. So our parts cost or our parts COGS would be 34.45.31. Okay. I always want to pay everybody in the shop, pay myself as an owner, and still net 25%. And it doesn't matter if you're a big shop or a small shop starting out. That's the goal, 25% OB or better. Okay. So we're going to take 13,781.24 times 25%. And so that gives us a net of 3,445.31, which just coincidentally is also the parts cost because we did half of the parts, which ended up being a quarter of the total sales. So anyway, try not to get confused from that. Maybe it made sense to somebody. So now we know what our net needs to be, and we know what our other costs were. If we take our technician cost for one, that's $1968.75 plus the parts COGS, $34.45.31, then that gives us a cost of goods of $54.14.06. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our total sales minus the COGS minus the net, and that tells us what our weekly budget, what we can spend on all the other things to run our shop are going to be. Okay. So again, it's 13,781.24 minus 5414.06 minus 3445.31. And so what this middle is, or what we're going to call the OPEX or the operating expenses for you profit firsters, you know what we're doing. So that gives us $4,921.87 per week for our operating expense budget. Now, again, you're going to have some money to start with because you're probably not going to jump out the gate and have this $13,000, $14,000 week sales unless you do a lot of work in the upfront in order to capture all that. So again, that's the math, how I did it. And remember, I always start with the end in mind. The end is the 25% net. But first, we have to make sure that we make a good margin on the labor side of it. And so we had to develop the labor rate. Every place is going to be different. Their dynamics are probably going to be a little bit different. But at least now you've got this $49.21.87 a week budget. If we take that out to 4 weeks for a month, it's a shade under $20,000 in operating expenses for everything else for that. And remember, that's where everything comes out of: rent, insurance, utilities, marketing, insurance, if I didn't say it. And then I'll say it again: insurance. The other thing that we didn't talk about is sales tax. I'm assuming that full amount does not have any sales tax in it. Sales tax is on top of that. Let's just say that. Most startup shop owners in the auto repair industry get in trouble with sales tax. Sales tax is not yours. It doesn't belong to you. make sure you collect it. Make sure you get it to the state. Don't mess around with the state. They are like 50 times more likely to come in and shut you down than the feds are for something like that. Like they will pull the plug on you very quickly. Hopefully that math makes sense. It's just a quick rundown. If you are thinking about starting a shop, if you need to talk about an existing shop, make sure you reach out to us. We can walk you through this. We can tailor it more towards you and what you're doing. But hopefully you got the big points out of this. How to do the math, what to do, come up with a budget, and then hopefully spend under that budget. Because I would also want you to, if you're putting some money or paying off a note, like some debt that you had, or making a payment on a loan, that comes out of the operating expense as well. I don't want it coming out of net. I want it coming out of the operating expense. So you have to figure out how to work within your budget and get those things done. I'd like to give another shout out to our sponsor, Shop Marketing Pros. They are the only marketing company I recommend, and they handle all of the marketing for my shop and my coaching company as well. If you're serious about growth, you need strategies that actually work. Better websites, higher Google rankings, and ads that bring real customers through your doors. Visit shopmarketingpros.com/Chris to partner with a team that understands your business, because every great shop deserves marketing that's just as great. Thanks for tuning into the Weekly Blitz. Remember, it's time to rise, grind, and keep your mindset positive. Until next time, this is Coach Chris Cotton signing off. Have a great day, everybody.
You've been listening to the Weekly Blitz with Coach Chris Cotton on the AftermarketRadioNetwork.com. Follow Chris on your favorite podcast listening app. Let him know what you'd like him to cover. His email is in the show notes. Chris is all for advancing the aftermarket.